In an abandoned house, I found a room that looked exactly like my bedroom, including a photograph taken that very night. But the photo was already lying on the table before I got there. And in it, I was asleep, in the same position, wearing the same shirt. What did you find that you were never supposed to see, and now regret? In an abandoned house, I found a room that looked exactly like my bedroom, including a photograph taken that very night. But the photo was already lying on the table before I got there. And in it, I was asleep, in the same position, wearing the same shirt. I don't know how to explain that. I've tried, to my girlfriend, to a therapist, even to a priest once. None of it helped. So now I'm writing it here. Not because I think someone will believe me, but because, if anyone else has ever seen something like this, I need to know I'm not the only one. It started with a break-in. Or, at least, that's what I thought it was. One morning, I woke up to find my front door unlocked. Not open, just the bolt turned. I live alone in a quiet town in West Virginia. I'm careful. Always lock my door. Every night. So finding it unlocked immediately put me on edge. Nothing was missing. Nothing was out of place. Except one thing. A picture frame on my bookshelf, one that had always held a photo of me and my older brother from a camping trip years ago, was now empty. The glass was still there. The backing was intact. But the photo itself was gone. I thought maybe it fell out. I searched everywhere. Behind the shelf, under furniture, even in the trash. Nothing. It was just gone. I let it go. Told myself it was weird, but not sinister. Until it happened again. A week later, this time, the clock on my microwave was blinking. Power outage, right? But none of the other electronics were affected. And the time that was blinking? 3:41 a.m. Exactly the time I tend to wake up from nightmares. Not every night. But often enough that the number gave me goosebumps. That same morning, I found a footprint in the dust near the attic hatch. I don't go in the attic. And there's only one hatch. No ladder. No pull string. Just a square panel in the ceiling of the hallway, barely used. And now, apparently, used by someone else. I told my landlord. He checked the locks, the windows, the crawlspace. Nothing. I've seen raccoons do weirder stuff, he said with a shrug. He wasn't taking it seriously. But something was happening. Something I couldn't see, but that could see me. That weekend, I drove out of town. No real destination, I just wanted to get away. Clear my head. I used to do that a lot after my brother died. Just drive until the thoughts got quieter. Usually up into the hills or around the old mines. This time, I ended up in a part of the county I didn't recognize. Rural. Overgrown. Almost no houses. Eventually, I saw a mailbox buried in ivy and turned onto a dirt road. No GPS signal. No signs. Just one long stretch of gravel leading into trees. I don't know what made me stop. But as soon as I saw the house, I felt something. Like a tug. Like I was supposed to be there. It was old. Early 1900s, maybe. 2 stories, missing windows, porch caved in. Completely abandoned. I don't remember deciding to get out of the car. I was just moving. I stepped inside. The floor creaked but held. Cobwebs in every corner. Smelled like wet wood and mold. All normal for a house like that. But the layout. I knew it. I'd never been there before, and yet I knew exactly where the kitchen would be. I turned the corner, and there it was. Small window over a sink. Stove to the left. Even the drawer handle I knew would be broken, was. My heart was hammering. My mouth dry. I walked slowly upstairs. The hall was narrow. Peeling wallpaper. One door at the end, slightly ajar. I pushed it open. And froze. It was my bedroom. Down to the smallest detail. Same dresser. Same posters. Same crack in the mirror. Same comforter, the blue one with the faded stripes I've had since high school. And on the table beside the bed, a photo. I picked it up with trembling hands. It was me. Lying in bed. Asleep. Wearing the exact same shirt I had on in that moment. I checked my watch. 7:12 p.m. I looked back at the photo. The digital timestamp in the corner said 7:12 p.m. I ran. I don't even remember going down the stairs. My legs just moved. I stumbled out of that house and into the trees, half expecting someone to chase me, half expecting to wake up. But I didn't. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel with shaking hands for what felt like hours before I finally turned the engine over and drove. I didn't look in the rearview mirror once. I couldn't. I was afraid I'd see myself there, still sleeping. Or smiling. When I got home, I locked every door, every window. I even nailed shut the attic hatch. My phone was dead. Not out of battery, just dead. The screen wouldn't turn on no matter what I did. I plugged it into the charger, walked into the kitchen, splashed water on my face, and came back. It was on. No passcode screen. Just one photo open on the display. It was the same photo I'd seen in the abandoned house. Me, asleep. Same pose. Same shirt. Same timestamp, 7:12 p.m. But now there was something else. In the corner of the photo, partially obscured by the shadow of the dresser, was a silhouette. Not mine. Someone, or something, had been in the room when the photo was taken. I tried to tell myself it was just a trick of the light. That I was misremembering the details. That trauma and fear were making me see things. But the next morning, I printed the photo at a local drugstore. When I held the physical copy in my hand, I could see it even clearer, the shape of a shoulder, the hint of a face. Eyes, black, lifeless, peering around the frame of the doorway. Watching me. And I was sleeping. Peacefully. Oblivious. The timestamp didn't just match the time I found the photo, it matched the time I'd been home, passed out on the couch, after getting back from the drive. I'd chalked it up to stress and adrenaline at the time. But now, I wasn't so sure. I had no memory of lying down. Over the next few days, things escalated. Lights flickering. Whispers I couldn't trace. Keys not where I left them. The TV turning on in the middle of the night, always tuned to static, until one night, it wasn't. It was showing me. Not a recording. Not footage. A live feed. I was sitting on my couch, holding the remote, watching myself on the screen. And when I dropped the remote in shock, the version of me on the screen kept holding it. Didn't move. Didn't blink. Just stared straight ahead. Right at me. That's when I bought the motion sensor camera. One of those cheap indoor ones you can hook up to an app. I placed it in my room, facing the bed, and left it running one night while I slept. The next morning, I checked the footage. It started normal, me shifting around, coughing in my sleep. Then, at 3:17 a.m., the feed cut to black for exactly 7 seconds. When it came back on, I was still asleep. But the door was open. And on the nightstand was the photograph. I didn't put it there. And I hadn't left the door open. I searched the apartment. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No disturbance. But the camera feed, the gap, the reappearance of the photo, it was all there. I rewatched it a dozen times, hoping to catch a shadow, a sound, a glitch. What I found instead was worse. Just before the blackout, one frame, literally one frame, showed someone standing at the foot of my bed. Not in motion. Just standing there. Tall. Blurred. Face turned away. Almost like they were, waiting for the lights to go out. The day after that, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. No.reply.folder3@protonmail.com. Subject line: Do you remember the green wallpaper? No message body. No attachments. But I did remember it. From my childhood bedroom. A dull green, slightly patterned. Faded and torn in one corner. I hadn't thought about it in years. The only photo I still had of that room was packed away in storage. I drove to my parents' house, dug through old boxes in the garage, found the photo album. The photo was gone. In its place, inside the sleeve, was a printed screenshot of the camera feed from 2 nights before. The one showing someone standing by my bed. Underneath it, handwritten in block letters. They're recreating it from memory. Yours. Not theirs. I started tearing my apartment apart. Not in panic, but with purpose. I checked every wall, every floorboard, every panel for signs of tampering. I found none. Until I pried open the baseboard behind my bed and found a small square of wallpaper. Green. The exact pattern from my childhood room. It was glued flat against the drywall. No reason for it to be there. I peeled it off. Behind it, faint pencil writing, "Do not think about the hallway." That night I dreamed of a hallway. Endless. Narrow. Lit by a single swinging bulb. The walls were bare, but the doors, they were numbered. Each one had my name. Different versions. Dan. Danny. DM03. Some were scratched out. Some had padlocks. One door was open. Inside, I saw a desk, and on it, a photograph. I woke up before I could touch it. The next morning, a photo had been slid under my front door. Same photo from the dream. Same desk. Same angle. The back of it read, "Stop trying to remember." That's how they find you. I haven't slept since. I went to the police. Told them someone was breaking in. They sent a patrol car. The officer walked through, checked the locks, took my statement. Said I should install an alarm system. As he was leaving, I noticed something strange. He looked around the apartment slowly, like he recognized it. I asked him if everything was okay. He said, "I used to have this same coffee table. Same scratch here, too." He pointed to a long scuff down the center. I didn't respond. I didn't have that scratch 2 weeks ago. After he left, I looked under the table. A small sticker, property of Unit 3, Archive Series. I don't know what that means. I searched it online. Nothing. No hits. Not even fragments. Like the phrase doesn't exist. I called my ex, someone who'd lived with me for a while, to ask if she remembered anything strange about the apartment. She paused and said, "I always thought it felt like we were being watched. Like we were rehearsing something." I asked what she meant. She said, "I'd clean the kitchen and then the next day it'd be messy again. But not randomly. Like it was reset. Exactly how it looked the day before." I asked why she never told me. She said she didn't want to sound crazy. Then she said something that chilled me to the bone. When I moved out, I kept dreaming I was still there. Still with you. But you weren't you. You kept asking me questions, like you were trying to remember how I reacted to things. It was like being interviewed by a stranger who looked like you. I asked when the dreams stopped. She said, "They didn't. I just stopped answering your questions. I started filming everything. Myself, the apartment, every object, every drawer, every wall. Day and night. I stored the footage on 3 different encrypted drives. One morning, all the footage was still there, untouched. Except for one file. Labeled do_not_open.mov. I didn't create that file. I played it. It was only 5 seconds long. A shot of me. Standing in the hallway. Wearing the same clothes I had on at that moment. But the timestamp was exactly 10 minutes in the future. I checked every camera. None were filming the hallway that day. I waited. 10 minutes later, I stood there. Same spot. Same pose. I tried not to move, but I couldn't help it. I blinked. In the video, I didn't. The version of me in the file didn't blink at all. That's when I stopped trying to record things. Every piece of evidence turns into something else. Every time I try to document what's happening, I get new fragments. New versions. Some of them contradict what I remember. Some add details I never knew. Some make it worse. But they all have one thing in common. At some point, they mention the room. The replica. The place I found that looked like mine. One note said, "That wasn't the first replica. That was the last one that worked." Another, "They used to test reactions. Now they test memory." Another, "You were inside the house before you found it." That one broke me. I started driving at night, trying to get lost. No map, no GPS. Just instinct. I ended up 3 towns away at a roadside diner. I sat at the counter, ordered coffee, and the waitress looked at me like she recognized me. She said, "Back again?" I said it was my first time there. She just smiled and said, "That's what you always say." I asked what she meant. She nodded at the corner booth. "That's your usual spot." I looked. There was an empty booth. Napkin on the table. Pen. Coffee still steaming. And a note. Handwritten. In my handwriting. "Stop looking. Start listening." I grabbed the note, ran outside, and drove until sunrise. When I got home, I opened the front door, and the apartment was gone. Not literally. The layout was the same. The walls. The floors. But nothing inside was mine. Different furniture. Different color scheme. No photos. No signs I ever lived there. I went to the manager. Asked if they'd remodeled my unit. He looked confused. Said I hadn't lived there for over a year. Said the place was vacant until just recently. I asked who lived there now. He said, "Some guy named Daniel. Looks a lot like you." I left without saying another word. I don't know where I'm writing this from. The room changes every day. The wallpaper shifts colors when I sleep. My phone has no signal. My emails go unread. But every morning, someone slides a new photo under the door. Always the same layout. Always the same timestamp. Always me, asleep. And in the background, someone else, watching. I stopped asking questions. Not because I had answers, but because the questions started changing. At first it was simple, how did that photo get there? Who took it? But now, it's, which version of me remembers what? Which of these apartments was the first one? Did I ever have a real bedroom, or have they always just been building them around me? The photos don't stop. They still come every morning. Sometimes slipped under the door. Sometimes inside my jacket pocket. One time I found one taped to the ceiling above me when I woke up. In each one, the details change slightly. A book moves. A plant appears. A scar disappears. One time I had a bandage on my hand. I took it off and found nothing. But the next day, I had a cut in that exact place. I hadn't noticed it until the photo showed me. Last week I woke up to the sound of my voice. Not someone speaking like me. My actual voice. From behind the wall. Repeating the same sentence over and over. "He's almost ready." Over and over. Calm. Measured. I put my ear to the wall and heard breathing. Then silence. I knocked once. And something knocked back. Once. Slow. Hollow. Like a door on the other side that shouldn't be there. I've stopped leaving the apartment. Not because I'm trapped, but because I'm not sure what part of this world is stable anymore. The outside is just as off as the inside. Street signs change lettering. People I know walk by without recognizing me. One time I watched a neighbor carry groceries into her apartment, 3 times in a row. Same bags. Same clothes. Same smile. Like a loop got caught and no one noticed but me. I've tried staying up. Days at a time. But eventually I fall asleep. And when I wake up, the layout is different. Nothing dramatic. Just enough to know it's not the same version. A light switch on the left instead of the right. A crack in the wall that wasn't there yesterday. Once, the faucet turned on backwards. Once, the mirror showed the hallway instead of the sink. I wrote it down. Took a photo. But the photo just showed my face. Staring into the lens. Mouth slightly open. Like I was mid-sentence. But I don't remember saying anything. The worst part is the gaps. Missing time. 30 seconds here. 2 minutes there. Gone. I'll be brushing my teeth and suddenly I'm on the couch, TV off, remote missing. I'll go to make coffee and realize the machine's already been used. Still warm. I asked out loud once, just to the room, "What do you want?" The light flickered. Then the fridge clicked on. Nothing else. No voice. No answer. But something heard me. I felt it. 3 nights ago I found a list. Folded under the rug in the hallway. A printed sheet, typed in courier. No date. Just a header, behavioral markers, active subjects. My name was there. Along with codes. Numbers I didn't recognize. And a column labeled, repeat tolerance, 87% next to it, exposure drift, increasing. And a red stamp, do not cull, see note. There was no note. I burned the page. But the next morning it was back. Folded on the table. Same spot. No scorch marks. No crease. I think they're testing something. Memory? Identity? Response to inconsistency? I don't know. But I'm starting to suspect I'm not the subject. I'm the recording. Something that runs until it falls apart. Then they rewind it. Adjust the set. Press play again. Today I found a second key in my coat pocket. My coat. The one I never take outside. No tag. Just the word exit etched into the metal. But I have no idea what door it opens. There are no locks in this apartment. Just knobs. No mail slot. No vents. No peephole. I've checked every inch of the walls. Except the hallway. The one I was told not to think about. But sometimes. I see a faint line on the wallpaper. A seam. Not like paint. Like a fold. Like a set. Waiting to peel open. I've been thinking about the seam. The one on the hallway wall. I see it more clearly now. Each day it becomes less like a fold and more like a door, the kind that was never meant to be found from this side. I haven't touched it. Not because I'm scared of what's behind it, but because I think it's been watching me too. Waiting. Like it knows I know. Like it's giving me a choice. Everything has quieted down. The photos have stopped. The static on the radio is gone. The clocks are synchronized. The lights don't flicker anymore. It almost feels normal again. But that's worse. Because now it's too clean. Too prepared. Like they want me calm. Like they want me to feel safe, before I decide. The key is still in my pocket. Heavy. Cold. Some nights I dream about it turning itself. Unlocking something I can't see. A sound behind the wall. A shape moving just beyond the edge of what memory can hold. I don't trust time anymore. Some days feel like they stretch forever. Others disappear entirely. I'll think it's morning and the sun's already setting. I'll hear footsteps in the stairwell, open the door, and there's no building outside. Just a blank gray wash of mist that doesn't move. And when I close the door again, everything resets. I've started writing things down less. It feels like I'm leaving breadcrumbs for someone else to follow. Someone who already knows how this ends. Someone who isn't me, but might be wearing my face. This morning, I found something under the sink. A piece of masking tape, stuck to the underside of the cabinet. Handwritten in blue marker. You've made it farther than the last one. The last what? Person? Version? Loop? I don't know. But that's what I think all this has been. Not a haunting. Not an experiment. Not even a warning. Just a loop. Rehearsed. Refined. Restarted. Every time I get too close, they change the script. Shift the furniture. Send a new photo. Adjust the memory. But something's wrong this time. I stopped reacting. And now, I think they don't know what comes next either. Tonight, I'm going to touch the seam. Not open it. Not yet. Just press my hand against it. See if it presses back. I don't know what's on the other side. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything I was never meant to know. Maybe just another version of me, waiting. Watching. Wondering why it all feels so familiar. If this is the end, I hope it's not a reset. I hope it's a window. I hope I look through and finally see who's been watching me all this time. And if it's me, I'll ask why. Not to accuse. Just to understand. And maybe, if I'm lucky, he'll answer. Post auto removed, account inactive for 7 days. No further entries logged. Thread closed, archive status, observe.